Cannibalism. Is it needed? Is it necessary? Is it legal? Let's talk some Tommyrot. Hey, hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Talking Tommyrot. Couldn't happen, guaranteed couldn't happen without Mr. Jace Oreo. He did the logo, he did the artwork, he did everything for this show to exist. Hit him up on Instagram at Oreo Designs, O-R-I-O, for your graphic design needs. He's going to help you build better business. He's going to help you build whatever you want, baby. Follow me on Instagram too, at Garzanate, or you can search the hashtag Talking Tommyrot and get to it right now. But today, guess what I've been presented with? Cannibalism. Interesting. I was listening to a podcast recently, and it was brought up, the topic of cannibalism was brought up, so I got to thinking pretty deeply about cannibalism, not in a bad way, not in like a threatening way or anything, but I just got to thinking about it and like, why is it so taboo to humans? I was doing a bit further research, and it seems as though there's a lot of cannibalism within the animal kingdom. According to Wikipedia, which I know is the most accurate thing on the planet, but more than 1,500 different species throughout the planet actually perform cannibalism, participate in cannibalism, eat each other, just like some cheapy little cannibals, some cheeky little cannibals. You just got to get a little leg meat. Got to get a little leg meat. But it happens a lot throughout the animal kingdom, and especially in the water. More than like 90% of organisms in the water, in aquatic ocean life, are cannibals. Tadpoles, baby tadpoles eat each other. Fish obviously eat the hell out of each other. There's just a lot of it that goes on. And I guess one of the questions that I kind of presented myself was like, is it necessary? Is it moral? Is there anything wrong with eating another person? And I think there's definitely it's circumstantial. It's definitely circumstantial as to if I would eat a human or not. So I think there's three instances of human cannibalism that one could be presented with. The first one would be involuntary cannibalism. So kind of along the lines of Jeffrey Dahmer. He definitely ate brains. He had a little bit of penis. He ate a little bit of penis, a little penis sausage. He ate some hands. He ate some fingers. He ate some brain. He did what he did. But his victims were involuntarily turned into victims of cannibalism. I guess they were involuntarily turned into meals. Boom. That's messed up. R.I.P. to those victims. But Jeffrey Dahmer was a crazy, crazy asshole. So involuntary cannibalism, definitely not moral, okay? Not necessary, not needed, and not legal. So apparently cannibalism doesn't have a lot of laws specifically written against it. There are a few states here in the U.S., Idaho, I think Montana, a few other states that have like specific rules against cannibalism. But in Colorado, I believe, for instance, you can eat human meat as long as the means you came about that meat were legal, so voluntarily given to you, or if you were to have an organ transplant and you kept the old organ, if you convinced the hospital to let you keep the old organ, you could eat it that way. There's technically no law against eating the human meat. It's just how you get it. If you murder somebody, you're obviously and guess what? Murder equals jail. Murder, jail. Think about murder, jail. Anyways, so involuntary, not moral, not right, definitely not something that one would advocate for. Jeffrey Dahmer was a weirdo, and he had some problems, obviously. But there was an interesting act that I saw of involuntary cannibalism. I don't know if this is... So this is kind of a tricky situation here. So I was reading about this thing called the custom of the sea, okay? The custom of the sea, which is a custom that is said to be practiced by the officers and crew of ships and boats in the open sea as distinguished from maritime law, which is a distinct and coherent body of law that governs maritime questions and offenses. Among these customs is the practice of cannibalism among shipwrecked survivors by the drawing of lots to see who's to be killed and eaten by the other members that may be able to survive. So literally, they draw lots. I think that's British for sticks. Yeah, we're going to draw some sticks here and draw some lots and see who gets the shortest. If you get the shortest stick, we're going to eat you, mate. We're going to eat you and we're going to take you around back and we're going to throw some barbecue sauce on you, mate. I don't know where I went from England down to Australia with that accent there. And I'm going to take it back to England. Just like that. But then I can take it back down to now I'm getting to Texas. I'm going to stop with the accent. Either way, there was an act performed by one Dudley and Stevens, who were aboard a yacht. Now, excuse me on the pronunciation here. The Minuet. The Minuet. It was an English yacht, so I am doing this a completely wrong accent. But in 1883, these guys were sailing on a yacht, and they got shipwrecked so they were a whaling ship, in the Essex of Nantucket. So that's pretty... Oh, no, excuse me. That was a different one with Custom of the Sea. So this has gone down a couple times. There's one in Essex, and then the one that I'm thinking of is the Minuet. But basically there's 4 guys, part of this crew, who shipwrecked on an island, and they were running out of, I think it was near Jamaica. So yeah, they was near Jamaica, and they were thinking of, like, what are they going to do for food? And this was in 1884. So it's not like too long ago. I know that's a really long time ago, but like not too long ago for thinking like, in the grand scale of things. It's maybe just a few, not even 200 years ago. So these guys, all shipwrecked on a Jamaican island, and one of them fell into a coma, this unfortunate young man named Parker. And the gentlemen here, Dudley and Stevens, thought that Mr. Parker, since he had fallen into a coma, why not just eat him? Because we got nothing else. I'm sure on a barren island, there's really nothing to eat or drink. Can't just drink the salt water, and I don't know how able these guys were to fashion their own fires and whatnot. They were obviously able enough to kill a guy, but the bad thing about this was Parker fell into a coma, but before they actually killed him, they kind of let him know that he was going to die, and they forcibly killed him. And Parker fought back. Parker fought these guys back, fought them back pretty good. This guy was not fully in a coma, so I don't know if he got an adrenaline boost from about to be killed by these 2 other guys, but there was another gentleman who was part of the crew who didn't partake in the murder, but he did partake in the eating and the drinking of the flesh and blood. That gives me the heebie-jeebies thinking of that. But yeah, they killed a guy and ate his meat. And these guys were tried with murder because they forcibly killed him, involuntarily killed him, and I don't know, maybe he wasn't even really in a coma. This kind of seems like a made-up story just to kind of get some free meats. Maybe those guys were into it. I don't know. So, just a weird little thing I thought about. But I did not know that this happened, the custom of the sea. I wonder, I think that's still legal. I mean, that's still a custom of the sea. It doesn't say that this is an old, tradition at all. I believe it still is a thing. So if you do happen to be at open sea and get shipwrecked, you know that there's options. If you got some bigger people with you, let's see what happens to them. Let's see what happens to them. Just make sure you know how to build a fire, because I don't know how good raw human meat would be. Probably gross as shit. I guess that's involuntarily, but that's also for survival, which is another like form of cannibalism. Like if you were shipwrecked, or if you were on top of a Mount Everest or whatever, and one of your mates died and you did not kill them, they just died recently, because I don't know if there's a time limit of when you can, there's a safe zone of human meat. I don't think it's been delved into too much to figure out what the stipulations are. I do know that cannibalism within other species really promotes the spread of disease and like parasites and just a bunch of different unnecessary crap that really wouldn't spread to each other if we didn't eat, or they didn't eat each other. So that, I'm sure that's not good. But if you were to have a person freshly die on you and you were stranded on Mount Everest, let's say you were stranded on Mount Everest for 4 or 5 days, you're freezing your ass off, your mate has died just a few hours ago, and you had nothing else, would you do it? That's really hard, because I don't know if on Mount Everest, I don't know if that's a good scenario. Maybe in a different scenario, on like an island where I don't think I'm going to be rescued. Like I know Everest isn't summited every day, but people have traversed Everest. They got maps of Everest. They know how to get up there. They know where people get lost. Like I'll be with a camp. There's a lot that goes into climbing Everest. But on an island, I don't know if there would be that much promise of a rescue at all, or you don't know when it would be coming. So I think that would be, I guess, a better scenario to be put in. But yeah, I would. I'd probably eat them if they died, and I had no other means. Now, I mean no other means, because I would try to hunt, fish. I would do everything I could on this island, given with the resources I had. But if it was completely barren and I had nothing, like nothing, then, come to Papa. And you know what I'm taking first is the butt. The butt meat, dude. I know that sounds weird, but that's the part. I'm pretty sure they make bacon with the butt of the pig. And human, not from experience, but human similarly tastes like pork. So, pig butt, bacon, human butt, maybe human bacon. I don't know. I'm not saying go try it. I'm just saying if I was in that situation, I'd probably take a little bit of butt cheek, a little left, a little right, slice it up, fry it. Maybe I don't need to be rescued. See how long that butt lasts me. I'm not going to go, but that's what I'm going for first. We don't have to get too much into detail of it, but I mean, would you eat somebody if it was your last chance, and if you had people at home that loved you, and you had to get home? Some people don't have that like drive, so they would just die too, which is fine. But I think if I was presented with the opportunity and I had to, and there was no other means, I think that survival instinct would just kick right in, and I'd slice a chunk of booty. Little chunk of booty, rocking everywhere. That's not to get confused with you sexual deviants out there who love eating ass. I mean, do that on your own time. If you're into it, I'm not going to blame you. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about eating some booty for survival. And I think that in that instance, cannibalism is acceptable and okay. But only in that instance. And I believe that other people think that too. So don't judge me. Now, there's one more form of cannibalism that I didn't mean to dive into it. I got presented with this topic and I wanted to do some research. Okay, so don't blame me. But there is a form of voluntary cannibalism. somebody who gives you a piece of them, or you eat a piece of yourself. You don't die from it, except this guy died from it, the example that I'm going to give, but he didn't mean to die from it. Anyways, people voluntarily will cannibalize each other. And there was an interesting example that I think some people may have heard of, but I'm going to go over it because I did not know this much detail went into it. A German man named Armin Muse. Okay, this gentleman is, I believe he was a scientist, an engineer, and he did some cooking. But this gentleman was looking for a volunteer, and he posted an advertisement on the website. I swear to God, this is not made up. This is an actual website. The Cannibal Cafe. Yeah. The Cannibal Cafe. That's enough. A defunct forum for people with a cannibalism fetish. Ew. Muse post stated that he was looking for a well-built 18 to 30-year-old to be slaughtered and then consumed. That had quotes around it. That means that was from the actual post. Ha ha! Good shit, Armin. All right. He got a response. He got several responses, but there was only one man that actually went through with it. So he got several responses, and people backed out of it, but this is a very gleaming for his case. He didn't force anybody into doing it that didn't want to do it. So good for you. You're not a total creep, but you definitely got some mental problems, Armin. So this man, I'm probably going to butcher his name, just like he got butchered. Oh, dude, I did not even plan that. I didn't even plan that. Ooh, I'm going to butcher your name just like you got butchered. Yikes. Bernd Jürgen Armando Brandis, an engineer from Berlin, answered the advertisement in March of 2001. Like I said, many other people responded to the advertisement but backed out. Muse did not attempt to force them to do anything against their will. Now, this is where it gets really fucking weird. The two made a videotape when they met on March 9th of 2001 in Muse's home in the small town of Rothenburg. It apparently showcased Muse amputating Brandy's penis with his agreement, amputating Brandy's penis, and the two men attempting to eat it together before Brandy's death. Wow. So this guy, Brandis, was also a genuine freak because he wanted to eat it as well, and it was his own, say it with me, pinacle. Alrighty. So, Brandis swallowed 20 sleeping pills and a bottle of cough syrup, likely causing an effect of slowed breathing and extreme tiredness. Brandis initially insisted that Muse attempted to bite his penis off. This did not work, and ultimately Muse used a knife to remove Brandis' appendage. Brandis apparently tried to eat his own penis raw, but could not because it was too tough, and he put it as chewy. Oh, yo. This is, guys, all right. If you got a weak stomach, you'll probably already stop listening. So, Muse then fried the penis in a pan with salt, pepper, wine, and garlic. So not only was he chopping it, he added other ingredients to make it taste good. This guy genuinely just wanted to eat some human meat and make it his freaking experience of his life. What is going on? He then fried it. Oh my God. He then fried it with some of Brandis' fat, but by then it was too burnt to be consumed. He then chopped the penis into chunks and fed it to his dog. Yeah. He made his dog eat penis. He should be locked up just for that. You sick freak. You sick freak. All right, Armin, what else you got for me? Muse then ran Brandis a bath before getting going to read a Star Trek book. This is a very specific retelling of the murder. While checking back on Brandis every 15 minutes, during the time Brandis lay bleeding in the bath. Okay, wow. So he's just laying here, losing blood basically in the bathtub this entire time from being sliced open. I'm assuming he's losing a lot of blood from his dick. How is this guy still alive after getting his penis chopped off? They didn't use any anesthetics. I'm just kind of now realizing that he just took some sleeping pills and some cough syrup. No real anesthetics or painkillers. So this man had a very high pain tolerance, or was something else was going on. I don't even know. I don't know what would be going on. I don't know. Don't ask me, you guys. Armin Muse was eventually charged with murder, but not after getting to keep 44 pounds of the flesh. He probably kept a lot more, but keeping and consuming 44 pounds of the flesh in a freezer he hid under pizza boxes. Muse committed the act for sexual pleasure, reportedly. But he would often grill. Oh my God. He would grill the meat, saute the meat, and cook it in different fashions. What is going on? I'm sorry. We went down a deep, dark path, but I thought this was some interesting shizniout. After the long hesitation and prayer, Muse killed Brandis by stabbing him in the throat, after which he hung the body by a meat hook. Okay, so Brandis didn't even die in the bathtub. He just was like, you know what? I'm not going to let you just die a slow, painful death. Muse apparently had a little prayer and stabbed him in the throat, hung him from a meat hook, filleted him, and ate him for the next 4 months until he was arrested in 2002. A long trial, but eventually he was found for murder and is serving a life sentence in Germany. So, Armin Muse, yeah, hikes, boy. That is a form of voluntary cannibalism. Getting the heebie-jibs that went astray for both parties involved. And I also read that Muse is now a vegan. Muse is a vegan now, and he advocates for everybody to not eat humans and not be a cannibal, and if you have those fetishes, to seek help immediately. I guess there was a good message in that. I don't know, but cannibal turned vegan, man. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. Live your life, Muse. Live your life in prison. Feel really bad for that Brandis guy, but they both obviously had some issues that nobody could see, and all these emotions are pouring out of me. Yeah. That's a strange one. I didn't know that I was going to get that deep, you guys. Cannibalism is obviously a very weird and taboo subject. It's been going on for years. It's probably still going on quite frequently. I know there are still some tribes that might participate in cannibalism. They're not very open about it, and we don't really document it as much. But definitely there are still some cannibals that live out there. What are your thoughts on it? Would you eat a person if it came down to it? Do you think Jeffrey Dahmer is a psychopath, or do you think he just needed a little bit more help? Psychopath, ding, ding, ding. But, yeah, cannibalism is a weird thing. Sorry we had to get into that, but I needed to get a little weird, guys. I've been getting really nerdy lately, so I wanted to get a little weirder into my weirder side. But thank you so much for coming, watching, listening, however you're taking this in. I appreciate you coming. And be sure to be following me on Instagram. That's at Garzanate. Search the hashtag Talking Tommyrot. I will be getting guests on soon. My plan is to do it by 2019 to kind of have a new shift into the new year with guests. So be on the lookout for that. We'll have a Christmas special coming up as well. I love you guys so much. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hit me up on Instagram. I love you guys. And definitely don't eat your neighbor, but say hi to him and tell him that you love him. even if you don't, because we all need to be told that sometimes. Just don't eat them. I love you guys. Bye.